What's so bad about renting?
Oh, so they've heard this from, I feel like it's mostly parents. I don't know, societally.
Yeah.
There's this vibe of like, you're wasting money on rent. Why are you still renting? Mm-hmm. You know, you should be buying a house.
Bad connotation to some people.
And to be fair to the younger generations, the boomers are sometimes, and Gen X, sometimes a little out of touch when it comes to the realities of housing. Because they go, well, interest rates are historically low. And I'm like, sure. But housing costs, the actual price of that home has skyrocketed 4, 5, 6 times what it was when you were young and able to buy a house. And so there's a real mathematical equation here to be solved. And that's why I say it's okay if you rent for longer than you would have liked.
That's right. Yeah, it is not a bad thing. Honestly, the whole idea of like it's throwing money away, I know it can feel like that, right? You're paying a good amount of money. It's not going to anything.
For someone else to pay off their mortgage and build wealth.
It's not going to equity. Like I understand that emotion. That makes total sense. But also you have to realize that home ownership, like it adds a whole other level of expenses that you're not having to deal with. And so if it's buying time for you to save all day.
Especially when you're young, you're newlywed. Like this happened with my wife and I. We rented an apartment until we were able to buy. And it was so nice to be able to just like send a text or fill out a form to have someone come and fix the toilet when it was broken while we figured out how to be newlyweds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what toilet issue could you not fix, George?
I don't know. I don't
remember. Was the toilet running?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was the actual toilet itself was not like in place well.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it was nothing major in an apartment, but it was just nice to have all the things dealt with for you.
Totally.
You're not worrying about HOA and property taxes and homeowners
Honestly,
insurance.
and stuff just breaking. Like half of our roof came off, basically, not half, but like a portion of it during a storm. We had like a really bad windstorm.
Oh, no.
And yeah, you have to get insurance, insurance claims, all of this. It's like replace the whole roof, that. Garage doors messed up, and so we had to do that. I mean, like, there's just,
maybe because you hit it. We don't know what happened.
I did hit it, but it wasn't because of that. I hit it years ago. But that was an issue. I don't know. It's just things always just keep coming up.
Yeah, my first townhome, the HVAC went out, and I was like, cool. I don't know, $1,000 to get this thing. Nope, it was $6,000 to get a new HVAC.
I know.
Like I had an ice dam. Have you ever heard of this? Didn't know what an ice dam was until water's pouring out of my bedroom ceiling.
But from the condensation, like it all built up?
After the snow and ice, apparently it can just start leaking through your ceiling.
No,
yeah,
man.
Google ice dam, DAM, family-friendly show. But that was a nightmare to have to deal with and get fixed and pay for and deal with insurance.
Renting is not bad. You're okay.
It's buying patience.
For a time.
That's
but
how I see
also, we get callers that are like, hey, should I just rent forever? Like, why own a home? But it is a part of your budget that is going to continually go up. And it's usually the most expensive line item in the budget. So eventually, owning a home, paying it off so you don't have that expense going into retirement, that's ideal.
That's huge. To get rid of that largest fixed expense in your budget is a game changer.
Yep.
And so getting your house paid off is part of the Ramsey plan.
All right, George, next one. When should I buy?
Ooh. When you're financially ready?
Yeah, and how do we know that?
Debt-free, fully funded emergency fund, and you have a decent down payment. Now, we're okay with 5 to 10% down now, but the key is to get that payment to be a quarter of your take-home pay on a 15-year conventional fixed rate. Get a lot of flack for that, understandably, because they go, Rachel, are you serious? Have you seen what the... I'll never be able to do that. We're not like, it's not a sin to get a 30-year mortgage. We just can do math and go like, listen, I know it's instead of $2,000, it's going to be $2,700 on a 15-year, but you're saving hundreds of thousands in interest.
So much
with these crazy interest rates.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the difference between a 15 and a 30, it's unbelievable. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars you're saving. And yeah, and I know we get calls a lot on the Ramsey show, and people kind of bump up that mortgage beyond what we suggest. And they go like 40%.
50%, 60%.
Yeah, oh yeah, we get those. But it's like they just go right up to that edge mark where it's a little stressful, but it's okay. And then something happens.
And then
a job loss, a health scare, like
one person
happens.
wants to stay at home.
Yeah, they have a baby and they're like, my wife doesn't want to go back to work, but we can't afford that. Like, stuff just happens. So when you just live more conservatively, it just gives you peace and margin to make other decisions in your life that you want to make. And so maybe it's not a bigger house. It may not be exactly in the right location. Maybe you're 20 minutes further than you want to be, but like it gives you more peace in your overall life. And that's what we want for you. So it's worth it's worth that.
If you have a 27% mortgage it's of your take-home pay, we're not angry at you. There's a level, it's just a parameter. It's just like this is the healthiest way to go so you have margin to accomplish all of your other financial goals.
That's right. All right, next, should I wait for the housing bubble to burst?
Yikes. You're going to be waiting a long time.
I don't hear this one as much. I heard it a lot. Probably this time last year, 18 months ago.
And during the pandemic, there was a lot of talk about it's going to explode and I'm going to wait on the sidelines. It was funny
because it was like 2020. Everything was like, oh my gosh, COVID. 2021, people were like, we're moving. I mean, 21, 22 was insane. Like everything just like
prices skyrocketed,
shot up, and everyone was freaked out.
And then the interest rates started climbing up.
And people were freaking out, and for good reason, right? It feels like, oh my gosh, everything is so inflated. These houses are so expensive. They're not worth what people are paying. So it's creating this artificial bubble is what everyone thought. And it's going to pop. Let me wait and be on the sidelines for 2 or 3 years. It'll pop.
And then it stayed there.
Everyone's going to go into foreclosure, and then I can buy a great deal. And it has stayed. And the reason it has stayed is back to like the number of buyers.
Supply and demand.
Yes, versus houses on the market. And there are a lot of houses on the market, but there are still more buyers than houses.
There's still a shortage of houses thanks to a lot of factors.
Yep.
Number one, people don't want to let go of their amazing rate they have.
So they're staying put.
So they go, I guess we'll stay put.
Yes.
Then on top of that, we haven't caught up on the supply of homes because of the pandemic and lumber and all these shortages. Builders can't build fast enough.
Yep.
And so there's still a shortage of homes, which is going to keep prices up. So if you're hoping on the sidelines, holding your breath for home prices to just shoot down, you're going to die if you keep holding your breath.
And there were some markets, Austin, Texas, like a couple that kind of
balanced.
They rebalanced. So they went down a little bit, but it was not like everyone
wasn't
thought
a crash.
Yeah, everyone thought it was gonna be like 08 again. If you remember 08, everyone was expecting that again.
Well, there was a different issue there with subprime lending. There was a lot of different issues than we're experiencing now. So if you're waiting on the sidelines, do not wait. That's why we tell people, buy when you're financially ready. Don't wait for some magic housing market to exist. It will not happen.
All right, George, ready for the next one? Are HELOCs a good idea?
Oh, boy. Home equity lines of credit. This is basically using your home equity like a credit card. It's a line of credit attached to your home, and it's moving you backwards financially and puts your home at risk with a variable interest rate. So this is a very dangerous game to play. And if we're going to be honest, as we take calls on the Ramsey Show, most people are taking out HELOCs to renovate their kitchen.
House, I know, to renovate.
You know what I mean? They're not like, well, I did it to pay off my debt. Even then, we'd say terrible idea.